Well, the Bureau of Public Enterprises, the BPE, has announced the restructuring of Kano, Ibadan, Benin, Kaduna, and Port Harcourt electricity distribution companies in the country. The BPE's announcement follows Fidelity Bank's activation of the call on the collateralization shares of Kano, Benin, and Kaduna Discos over their inability to repay loans obtained to pay for assets acquired in the 2013 privatization exercise. BPE says the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, will be a placeholder board for the Ibadan Disco in a temporary capacity, while the Port Harcourt Disco undergoes restructuring to prevent its imminent insolvency. Well, for some industry players, this does not come as a surprise. One of such persons is Professor Yemi Oke. He's Professor of Energy Electricity Law at the University of Lagos, and he joins us now to share his thoughts with us. Good morning, Prof. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so this doesn't come as a surprise because I know you've been having conversations around this where we see banks taking over because of the burden of sustaining, funding the discos.
Yes, definitely it doesn't come to me as a surprise at all. It's been predicted. What actually happened was at the time of power sector acquisition, definitely the process was kind of filled with the needless secrecy, and the entities that actually acquired didn't repatriate funds. So the mop up funds to acquire those entities. And a lot of Nigerian banks were needlessly exposed in terms of a single obligor limit to power sector. And the money was released to them in dollars, and they were supposed to be generating naira. And that's one of the challenges we have in the power sector because they can't meet up. Dollar rate now is about 6.13 or unofficial rate as against the loans that were procured at 161 to dollar. And Nigerians are not ready for further increase in tariffs because they're not even getting supplies. A lot of Nigerian banks are actually exposed to power sector. So we expect that there will be another round of reacquisition and refinancing in the power sector because what has been done wrongly ought to be revisited so that we can get it done correctly. I anticipated like 5 banks would go down. 3 already went down. One just announced its vulnerability, and all is not well. And these are predictions that have been out there for close to a decade. So the power sector is challenged.
All right, Prof. This is obviously a conversation that is just starting because we also hear that some chairmen have been appointed by the bank and independent chairman by the BP also, to overlook operations of those discos. But thank you so much for your time. I know that we'll be engaging you a whole lot more on this issue.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, there you go. Some changes coming to the electricity supply sector, and we wonder how that will affect you. Well, all you have to do is stay here on Business Morning and Channels Television generally, and you will get that. Moving to other issues now. Earlier this week, the Acting Director General of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission disclosed that since 2021, the agency had prepared 51 eligible and bankable public-private partnership projects worth $17 billion. But guess what? They don't have bidders. Why is that, and what's the way forward? We'll have that conversation after this break. Do stay with us. I'll be having with Damilare Ashimiyu, Investment Associate at Afrinvest Research and Consulting. But that'll be after the break. Join us again. You're welcome back. You're still watching Business Morning on Channels Television. So why does it look like the PPP is not, or the PPP projects are not so attractive to bidders? Damilare joins us now. Hi, Damilare. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Hini. Thanks for having me on the show.
Good to have you. So what do you think is responsible for this seemingly lack of interest, by bidders?
Yeah, thank you once again. Yeah, so why this development is actually not a cheering news, given the huge infrastructure deficit in Nigeria, which is estimated at about 3 trillion US dollars. I'm sure we need a very effective adding machine to convert that to Naira. But the truth of the matter is that this trend may actually persist so long Nigeria refuses to play to the basic investment rule book. And the basic investment rule book globally is the fact that investors will only be willing to put their resources where their analysis, scenario analysis, has shown that the risk return profile is encouraging. Or what I mean is that where investors see that the potential return from the risk they are intending to take by investing in a project, a PPP project in a country, is actually outweighing the potential cost or risk. But in the case of Nigeria, there have been a lot of factors that have been highlighted over the years, which we have not really made much progress in addressing them. And I would speak to like 3 or 4 factors that are actually driving this lack of interest by investors in Nigeria's public-private partnership initiatives. In a 2017 blog post on the World Bank blog tied to Nigeria, trying to get it right with PPP, the leading factor that was highlighted as the reason why investors are not interested in having a PPP arrangement in Nigeria is the fact that we have an ambiguous PPP laws, and that position was actually given by some global investors that the World Bank interviewed concerning Nigeria. Yes, the ease of registering business in Nigeria has improved. At least before this administration came, Nigeria ranked about 170 out of 190 countries in terms of ease of doing business. Now, before the World Bank discontinued that metric last September, we are now at 131 out of 190 countries. But the truth is that what has actually improved in terms of our ease of doing business ranking is just the ease of registering business, not the success factors that every businesses need to operate smoothly in Nigeria. You still have the power problem. You still have the bureaucratic processes at different government agencies. So these are factors that our investors will always consider. And we also have a problem of policy flip-flop. And I will also give maybe 1 or 2 examples around that. We all recall some years back, we have this Olokola free trade zone, being set up in Ogun State by the previous, the administration before the last one. And a lot of investors from, outside of the country in the oil and gas space have actually, put a lot into this project before the past administration in the state came and put a hand to that initiative. Those are things that discourages investors. Another example of a failed PPP effort by Nigeria in the past is even this Lagos-Ibadan Express Road was initially a concession in 2012 by the prior administration, but that was put to stop. Much has not been done in that case. But again, these are investors will look at, I will not really be comfortable. Even the Lekki toll here, when the concession was initially made, the company managing that was supposed to manage it till 2034. But last year, the government boxed them to corner to, pay them out. They renegotiated the term and pay them out at a rate that may not be as high as what they initially agreed. So these are kind of antecedents that investors don't like. And we also have a lot of monetary policy that, they want to be keeping investors by the sideline. We have aggressive capital control measures in this country. It's easy to move in your dollars, but when it gets into the country, it becomes a difficult thing. I also have a problem of insecurity. So these are the basic factors. These are the basic items that typically investors will look at, and if before taking a long-term, because anything that has to do with PPP project is a long-term investment. It's not hot money like investment in equities that you can pull out in a week. And so investors will always weigh the cost and benefit of what they are trying to do. And once it's not favorable, even no matter how bankable the idea is, you always see a drawback. And this is actually not a good development, given that we have huge infrastructure deficits.
Well, a lot of factors you've noted there, and unfortunately, these are things that are just out there and a lot of people would see. But for you, obviously, all of them cannot be solved at the same time. But what are the low-hanging fruits from your perspective that you think can be easily fixed, to get people interested especially because of infrastructure?
Yeah, so the quick one of the few low-hanging fruits that we need to actually address on time is removing of bureaucratic process in, in our processing of investment events. I mean, a lot of, if you check the website of the Nigeria Infrastructure Regulatory Commission, you observe that the last time some projects there were, investors last showed interest was 2020, which is almost 2 years. So there are a lot of bureaucratic process with Nigeria, with processing things in Nigeria. I also want to believe that if we can improve on that, whereby processes can, business processes can be enhanced and be consummated at a very quick time, this will encourage investors. But I think one of the key low-hanging fruit also that needs to be considered very urgently is our aggressive capital control measures. So investors are always wary of that. We have some challenges in-house, but the moment you also have a very tight capital control measures, and you're not ready to reverse that, investors will always be wary of coming to your country. So I think these are two quick low-hanging fruit that we can fix, and begin to have foreign investors, showing interest in our PPP arrangement, which is what we actually need now to bridge our infrastructure gap.
Yeah, so this is election period. Election is just a couple of months away, and so we see the political scene really heated up, and attention has mostly turned there. So a lot of times, these are not times when investors will be interested in a country because of the uncertainty. And then you also mentioned the flip-flop in policies. Don't you think we should also look at the legal area, perhaps have a law or something to compel subsequent administrations not to tamper, with agreements and arrangements in the PPP area?
Yeah, I quite agree with you. And I think that is also in sync with the major factor I highlighted earlier, that we have ambiguous PPP laws. Our laws made it easy for government to, a change of government to, unanimously or unilaterally just decide to end an existing agreement, which will impact negatively on a business that has put a lot into investment in a country. So I think you are very correct. And even if you also look at it from the perspective of even our tax law, I know a study by one of our PwC leading tax partner recently showed that Nigerian companies are paying one of the highest business taxes in the world. We have almost 6 different taxes on there. We have the CIT, 30%. We have 2.5 from education. We have police levy of 0.05. We have NASENI levy. We have recently introduced NYSC levy, aggregating, taxes on businesses to about 35%. That is one of the highest you can get anywhere in the world. So I think I agree with you. We need to look into our laws regulating our PPP arrangement and even our legislation around taxes, because until these are fixed, we may struggle to attract investors into the country, to bring in that huge investment that we need. And unfortunately for us, rather, at a time like this where Europe is badly in need of gas, which is abundantly available in Nigeria, we need investment, even in the area of pipeline to run gases from Nigeria to Niger, Algeria to Europe. But if our business environment is not palatable enough, if it is not encouraging and attractive to investors to bring in their money, we may not see this. So we need to look at our laws and even our tax policies to fix things.
Yeah, well, maybe we should also look inward. So apart from expecting the investors outside the country to get interested, maybe we should also look for a way to attract more local investors. Every time we talk about the infrastructure attempts, the PPP infrastructure, the one with the tax rebate, it seems it's only Dangote we're talking about. Maybe if the demands or requirements either for funding or some of the requirements were lowered, we could have smaller firms, organizations get interested and participate in it.
Yeah, what I agree with you. I think that if you look at the kind of infrastructure deficit we have in Nigeria, how many small businesses will have the kind of financial capacity to fund them? We're talking about infrastructure deficit of $3 trillion US. If you put that in Naira, multiplied by the current exchange rate of 40, that'll blow off your calculator. So we only have few big, deep pocket players in Nigeria that can actually do this. And many of even the few ones are into a lot of projects. Yes, Dangote was the one that took a tax relief or so to fix this Oshodi Road. But you agree with me that Dangote also has a project that is ongoing, that he is also borrowing. And if you don't look at other small or medium-sized businesses who have actually been squeezed by multiple taxes, by high cost of businesses, what kind of PPP arrangement would you think those ones would be willing to push? So I think there is no way we can actually develop our infrastructure on our own. It is surprising for you to know that a single business in the US, Elon Musk, paid a tax that the size of the tax last year was, was bigger than combined of IGR of all the 36 states in Nigeria. So that shows you that we actually don't have so many big businesses in Nigeria. The middle-sized businesses and the small-sized businesses are even struggling to survive. We can count numbers of businesses that have packed their loads and leave the shores of Nigeria because of how difficult it is. The medium-sized ones that have not left is because they don't have any option. They are still struggling to survive, trying to take advantage of initiatives like the AFTA and what have you, find their food. So we actually don't have that financial strength in-house. We need that external financing, especially given the fact that the value of our currency is low there.
Wow. So that's another work, obviously, to get the businesses standing strong first. Then we can now expect that from them. Thank you so much, Damilare Ashimiu, Investment Associate at Afrinvest Research and Consulting. Thank you for being a part of the show. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks for having me.
After the break, AFEX Commodities Market is next. Still here on Business Morning in Channels Television.